we've all played the original Breath of the Wild by now, right? You've got your classic bombs, which, let's be real, were mainly just used to avoid walking. Stasis, which made for the most Looney Tunes interactions. Magnesis, which, magnets. And Cryonis, which I honestly forgot existed until writing this script. Well, Tears of the Kingdom says forget all of that and gives you 4 brand new abilities. Or at least I'm pretty sure it's 4, I actually don't know, I haven't played that far into the game yet. Now we have Fuse. Got a weak, tiny little stick? Why not attach it to a fucking rocket and go crazy? Same goes for shields. Beauregard's weak-ass Boko shield? Now that's some defense. We've also got Ascend. Don't want to climb that mountain? Just put a Danny Phantom and phase right through. Recoil feels like this game is taking on stasis with them both stopping time, but rather than doing this, you can rewind time. It's mainly used for solving puzzles or riding rocks but hey, it's neat. And last but definitely not least, Ultra Hand. This is meant to let you make fun little cars or sturdy little rafts when all everyone has been using it for is to torture these little guys and Penis Man. While it would be quite fun to make some poster design for some of the greatest constructions ever made, we haven't animated here for quite a while, so let's change that. If you've seen my content before, then you know that my whole thing is taking my favorite aspects from my favorite video games and reworking them into something cool, new and creative. So today, we turn the new Tears of the Kingdom abilities into some kinetic type. Why this specifically? Well, my main 3 ideas for videos were kinetic type, making posters on the divine beasts, are they even still in the game? I'm not really too sure, and Lincoln's side on kissing but like animated really well so it's not what is just impressive. If you don't know what kinetic typography is, then welcome to this neat little subsection of motion design. It's basically whenever you take some type and you make it go woo 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 to have it express some emotion. We're gonna make these letters do this. But how do we do that? With everyone's favorite program, After Effects, which crashed while making this video, so this is take 2. If you're animating something complex, it always helps to have a storyboard first. Now, it doesn't have to be clean, trust me, it can be very, very messy, as long as you have something to help you get from point A to point B, so you're not in After Effects stuck just sitting there trying to animate like... Alright, Fuse, let's break down the ability. It lets you combine 2 different items to create one cooler item. We've also got all the cool particle effect of the wavy lines connecting the objects and even more wavy lines when they fuse. This is a 4-letter word on a piece of paper. This, dare I say, is significantly less cool. My idea here is to separate fuse into FU and SE and have them combine with the wavy particles until they join up into one cooler single object. And just for fun, I reckon we reverse the animation to make it loop. Looping animations are very fun to look at. If you show me a motion graphics and they loop, that gets an automatic Aura Star seal of approval. So the smart thing to do here would have been to film the process so I could show you guys what I did step by step, but you know what, I'm sure you guys would have gotten bored anyway of me going through step by step showing you everything I did. I wanted a heavy, rounded font because I thought it would work best with our idea, so for this one we're going to be using Fat Frank Heavy. Who names these fonts? I have no idea. The basic principle here is to make the 2 halves go from disconnected to connected, so let's make them 2 separate layers and then move them far apart. From distant lovers to lovers. But this is pretty... Why doesn't it look good? I literally edited the speed graph and everything, supposed to fix it. Introducing the basics of animation. First of all, anticipation. If I'm going to jump, I don't just go wahoo and suddenly end up in the air. I've got to crouch down and prepare for the larger motion that's going to happen. We're going to make ours pretty exaggerated, so let's have the bottom of the text running ahead as the top of the text try to catch up because it's going so fast. Nice! It's looking a lot more fluid, but the end still feels clunky. How about some overshoot? This is when you go past the endpoint just a little, and then spring back to the actual endpoint, helping make the exaggerated movement flow a lot better. It's still a little bit weird when they collide though. Okay, one more tip. If you drop a ball, just pretend this is a ball, it squishes when it hits another surface. Squash and stretch, it's called squash and stretch. What material is the text made out of? But it does look way nice when it's squishy though. Let's add some particles now. Bada bing bada boom, this is just some rectangles with some glow and wave warp. And now we have something pulling these 2 together. For the spiral particles, we're going to get the shape, repeat, trim paths, and now you're done. We're finally getting somewhere. I can't help but feel like the text fusion would look a lot nicer if it spun around on impact just like the particles do to give it a little bit more oomph. Let's apply those squash and stretch principles from earlier, and I think we're getting there. For the reversal to make it loop, as much as I would love to be able to just play the video backwards, and trust me, I tried, we need to do what we did earlier, but in the opposite direction, with the text bending the other way. Now, some final particles for good measure, like these ones over here to make the motion really hit on that overshoot keyframe. A Tears of the Kingdom background made in Illustrator, this is just circled with some roughen. Add some noise, turbulent displace, and boom! Nothing says fuse like text on a screen that spells out fuse. I want to do ascend next because we've got a really cool idea for the animation. What if for ascend, we made the text? This one right here is going to look wicked and should in theory have the coolest and smoothest loop of all of them. Text, letter A, squish, woohoo! Jumps for a platform with all the wiggly particles. Back down a bit, squish, and they all go just one after the other, so rather than a boring single word jumping in unison, it's like, whee! Let's do it. Since the main thing here involves squishing the text vertically, it's best to get a taller font so the animation can be more pronounced without having to deform the text too much. For this one, I picked out Zoom Light. We're going to write the text out, making sure there's a good amount of space in between everything so there's a bit of breathing room for the particles. Make them outlines and give them their own layers, and let's animate the first letter. Squash, stretch, move it up, squash, stretch, copy and paste, and oh yeah, make sure the anchor point is at the bottom and middle of the letter or it's going to get really fucky. Let's pop into Illustrator again and make some platforms. I want them to have a nice sandy creamy color just like the text, so I'll steal the color and even add an outline for contrast. Then adding in a zigzag through the middle, this is looking pretty Zelda-y. Got to roughen up a little bit to match the background. Speaking of which, instead of circles this time, we have some random ancient runes. Slap in the assets, and then some intertwining waves. This is literally just 2 lines with wave warp. And now we have the basic outline for our animation. For the loop, we just have to have a null set up to act like a camera panning down. Now, if we just add in a few effects, I think we can call this done. I love the little addition of the glow when the letters jump up, and the dust scratches really add a lot to the Zelda aesthetic. What other ones do we have left now? I know there's 2 more, but I just can't. Alright, we're gonna start off with nothing. The text falls in, just like those massive rocks in the game. They get hit with the... They go back up. Oh look, there's nothing here anymore. How's that for a perfect loop? I want to try and make all of these as different as possible from each other, so let's go with a Seraphim for this one. I think Lark in Medium is nice and refined while being weighty enough to animate exactly how we want it to. Separate the letters, make them all fall one by one. The line that showed you the previous path slides down. Glow, make them all rise again, but this time they all rise together. It just looks a little bit cleaner like this. Background, time stop. This is just a circle mask with some turbulent displace and some glow. I was gonna add in the timer thing from here into here, but it just felt way too cluttered no matter how it was positioned or scaled, so yeah, it looks like we're done. This one actually took a really long time, but it was mainly just troubleshooting with speed graphs and timing to make sure it flowed properly. Even when you know what you're doing and what you're gonna do, sometimes it can still take a really long time just refining and tweaking even the smallest things. I really like how the background animation stops and the time stops here too. I thought that was pretty neat. Also, I can't think of a cool segue into the next. This one was the hardest to do by far just solely because of how versatile the ability is. Like, with Ascend, I think it turned out pretty damn good, but for the concept, that was not hard to come up with. Like, realistically, what else was I gonna do? Make the text go down? Ultra Hand lets you make fighter jets and child elimination devices. This is just text on a piece of paper! I think it's going to be best if you break down the ability into its simplest form. My first idea was going to have Ultra Hand written out with the A missing, then having it Ultra Handed into place where it joins up with the rest of the word, and oh my god look, it has a fan attached to it so it can float up a little and then, yeah okay. I wasn't really too sure what was going on here, this is kinda clunky. I also don't think that an Illustrator's fan would blend in very well with the type, and it would make it for a very awkward loop. Like, where do you go from here without making it super long and tedious? My next idea was a bit better. We have the entire word here in the middle, but the D is on backwards. There's probably a joke here somewhere, but I can't be bothered to write it. The text moves around a bit as a whole unit to show it's all connected, then the Ultra Hand bit gets shaken and thrown off, just like how you do in the game to attach something. Now the D can spin around to the correct position, then we can have all the glowy stuff connecting back together. This time we need a thick ass font so the sticky goop has something to hold on to, so Futura Extra Bold it is. Gonna make the goop, I'm gonna call it glue from now on. I'm gonna make the glue with the pen tool and give it a bit of glow like it normally has, just filling in the space in between the letters. We wanted to start moving around now, but we all know that it can't move until it has a funny green glow around it, so we'll make one with the mask of the text and animate it in. Bit of graph editing. Gotta separate the D from the rest of the text so that we can animate it by itself, and we also want this so that when the D is throwing off the rest of the text, it's doing it from that point and not from the middle, so we set up some nodes and did some more graph editing to get to this point here. Right now this is looking stiff as hell, so we added a bit of squash and stretch when it bounces off the sides. And now we have to think about how the D gets around to fixing itself. Regular rotation is boring as hell, so I made it like the games. So it's got a bit of that jittery overshoot that you get, so you really feel the weight of the object you're rotating. Now we just keyframe a new glowy outline to join them up, and Ultra Hand is good as new. Oh, but Aura, where's the loop you may be wondering? Fuck. Okay, no worries. We're gonna do a little trick that I like to call hiding mistakes behind motion blur. We can have it spin around since, you know, Ultra Hand, and while it's spinning, we can just change out the D to make it look how it was at the start, so when you play it back, I'll be totally honest and say maybe it made way more sense to throw the D and not the entire rest of the fucking word, but hey, I'm a man who commits to my mistakes. Now if you'll excuse me, I need to go learn how to make this device. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your favorite new ability in the comments. And while you're down there, you might as well like and subscribe since you're this far in, and I'll see you guys next month with another cool art video. Peace.